The ship drifted silently in the cold darkness of space. Stars glittered outside the narrow viewports, but inside, the corridors were quiet, except for the low hum of the engines. Captain Alex Monroe sat alone in his cabin, reviewing the navigation logs. The Gliese system had been charted as uninhabited for decades, but the mission had grown tense lately. Strange signals kept appearing on the sensors, unusual readings that no one could explain. The crew whispered theories, but Alex preferred facts over rumors. Still, he could feel a tension in the ship, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Alex was focused, tracing a path through the asteroid belt that surrounded the small planet below. The readings suggested resources, rare minerals that could benefit Earth colonies, but they also indicated disturbances in the local space. He frowned at the data. Something didn't add up. Every calculation he made seemed precise, yet there was an irregular pattern he couldn't ignore. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his eyes. Alone in the cabin, he allowed himself a small sigh. Long missions had a way of wearing on a person. Days stretched into nights without distinction, and the solitude could make even the strongest mind restless. That's when the door slid open. Alex turned sharply, hand instinctively moving toward his side. The cabin's lights reflected off the polished surfaces, and there, standing calmly in the doorway, was a figure he had not expected. She did not hesitate or knock, and her presence was immediate, undeniable. Her movements were fluid and confident, like she belonged there, though she clearly did not. The alien woman's outer suit, heavy and reflective, clung to her frame. It looked practical, designed for protection in unknown atmospheres. Her helmet was tucked under one arm, revealing an elegant face, eyes sharp and intelligent, and hair that shimmered slightly under the cabin lights. Alex froze. He had trained for emergencies, for intruders, even for alien encounters, but nothing could have prepared him for this. She stepped inside fully, closing the door behind her without concern for protocol or procedure. There was no threat in her posture, yet she radiated authority. Alex's instincts told him to ask questions, to demand identification, but his voice seemed to stall. He had only seconds to process her presence before she began removing the outer layers of her suit. She did so methodically, revealing a sleek, functional biosuit beneath. It hugged her form comfortably, designed for mobility, and clearly allowed her to survive in environments humans could not. There was nothing inappropriate about it. It was armor for survival, not display. Yet the casual way she moved, the confidence she held, made Alex aware of how different her world was from his own. Without hesitation, she stepped closer and sat beside him. Not close enough to invade personal space, but close enough to make it clear that she trusted him, or needed him. Alex's mind raced. Why had she come here? What did she want? He opened his mouth to speak, but found the words tangled in surprise and caution. Finally, she spoke, her voice calm but firm. Captain Monroe, I have information that cannot wait. Your colonies are in danger. A fleet is moving through this sector, and they will not distinguish between humans and other life. They destroy anything in their path. I came to warn you and to ask for your cooperation. Alex blinked. He had expected many things in space, but a direct warning from an alien intelligence was beyond what any training could prepare for. Who are you? He asked. Why are you helping us? Her eyes met his, unwavering. I am Lyra, envoy of my people. Our interest aligns with yours, though our methods differ. I have tracked these forces for centuries. If they reach your colonies, they will devastate them. You must act now. Alex leaned back, still trying to process her words. This was not just a chance encounter. It was a deliberate act. She had crossed countless light years to find him. Why come here to me? He asked. Because you can act, she replied simply. Your people have courage and ingenuity. That combination may be the only thing that can save them. Her words settled over him, heavy with meaning. Alex had faced threats before. Pirates, rogue drones, even unpredictable cosmic storms. But never anything that could wipe out entire colonies. His mind raced with possibilities, calculations, strategies. He realized he had only one option. Listen. The first challenge came when the ship's sensors blared. Red lights flashed across the control panels. Alex stood quickly, motioning for her to stay seated. Incoming ships. I don't know their origin yet, but they're fast. Very fast. Lyra nodded, already moving toward the console. I can help. Your systems are primitive compared to ours, but together we can create a defense. You must trust me. Alex hesitated. Trust was a difficult word, especially in space where one wrong move could mean death. Yet the conviction in her voice, the calm in her demeanor, suggested she had faced worse dangers than this. He nodded once. All right, let's see what we can do. Over the next few hours, Alex and Lyra worked side by side. He showed her the ship's systems, navigation protocols, and weapon capabilities. She input commands, her fingers moving with precision, altering targeting algorithms, rerouting power, and optimizing defenses in ways Alex had never considered. It was fascinating watching her work. Human intuition met alien technology, and the results were immediate. Despite the tension, a strange camaraderie formed. Alex realized that Lyra's bold entrance, her disregard for protocol, was not disrespect, it was necessity. She needed to act fast, and human hesitation could have been deadly. He found himself respecting her, even trusting her. The quiet moments when she explained strategies or highlighted dangers felt oddly grounding. At one point, the ship shuddered as small debris struck the shields. Alex's heart jumped. They're closer than expected, he said. Lyra leaned over, analyzing the incoming trajectory. They underestimate your maneuvers. We can exploit that. I will guide you. The first exchange of fire came seconds later. Red laser bursts lit up the view screens and the ship shuddered under the impact of enemy fire. Alex's hands moved with precision, following her instructions. The combination of human reflexes and alien foresight allowed them to dodge, counterattack, and survive the initial assault. Through it all, Alex kept glancing at her, noting her calm under pressure. Lyra was not just skilled, she was fearless. Each action she took was deliberate, a mixture of strategy and instinct honed over years of experience. Humans had courage, she said, but this mission required more than bravery. It required collaboration, trust, and quick adaptation. As the skirmish subsided, the two of them sat back, catching their breath. The ship was intact, though the enemy fleet lingered in the distance. Lyra turned to Alex. This was only a test. They are probing your capabilities, measuring your reactions. The real attack will be faster and more coordinated. Alex rubbed his temples. He had faced danger before, but this was different. The stakes were higher, the enemy unknown, and time was against them. Then we prepare, he said simply. Lyra nodded, a small smile appearing. It was not a smile of joy, but of understanding. Good, you learn quickly. That is why I chose to come to you. For the first time in weeks, Alex felt a sense of purpose beyond mere duty. The mission was no longer about charts, data, or routine patrols. It was about survival, collaboration, and making decisions that could save countless lives. The stars outside remained indifferent, distant points of light in the endless void. But inside the cabin, a new dynamic had formed. Human courage and alien intellect side by side, facing a threat that neither could handle alone. And Alex knew one thing with certainty. This was just the beginning. The sensors flared again, signaling movement. Alex's fingers hovered over the controls, and Lyra leaned forward, analyzing. They're preparing to strike in full force, she said. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were sharp. We must be ready, or everything will be lost. Alex swallowed hard, feeling the weight of responsibility. He glanced at her once more. Her bold entrance, her confidence, her unexpected presence, it all made sense now. She had come here because she had to. She had come to ensure survival. And Alex, for the first time in his long missions, felt truly alive. The ship trembled again as a larger fleet emerged on the sensors. The fight was far from over, and the path ahead would test them in ways neither had imagined. Yet with Lyra beside him, Alex felt that perhaps, just perhaps, humanity could stand a chance. The enemy fleet advanced, silent yet ominous, like a shadow stretching across the void. Alex Monroe's hands gripped the control console as red alerts flashed across every panel. Lyra leaned beside him, her eyes scanning the sensors with calm precision. The hum of the engines seemed louder now, echoing through the cabin, a reminder of how fragile their vessel was in the face of this threat. They're faster than any scout we've encountered, Alex muttered. We won't outrun them. Lyra's fingers danced across the console. Speed alone is not enough. We will use their confidence against them. They expect fear, hesitation. We will give them none, Alex nodded. He had trained for this, but experience was never enough. Fear clung to the edges of his mind, but Lyra's presence was steadying. Her calmness became a shield, her logic a guide. He realized she was more than an ally. She was the key to survival. The first wave of enemy ships approached in formation, sleek and predatory. Red beams cut across the dark emptiness of space. The ship jolted under the first impacts and alarms screamed. Alex's hands moved instinctively, following the evasive maneuvers Lyra instructed. The combination of human reflexes and alien tactics kept them alive longer than expected, but the enemy was relentless. "They're probing for weaknesses," Lyra said. "Every strike they make is calculated. Watch the pattern and you'll see the openings." Alex's eyes narrowed. He studied the enemy movements, noting slight hesitations between strikes. They were precise but predictable in their rhythm. He adjusted the ship's shields accordingly, diverting power where it was needed most. Lyra guided him, suggesting angles and adjustments that maximized their defense and allowed small counterattacks. For hours, the battle raged. The ship shuddered under each hit, sparks flying from damaged panels. The hull groaned and warning lights flickered. Alex worked tirelessly, sweat beading on his forehead, while Lyra remained calm, calculating every move, every counter, every chance to turn the tide. Then came the moment of opportunity. A gap appeared in the enemy formation, a split-second opening that could be exploited. Lyra's voice was sharp but steady. "Now, Alex, fire the ion disruptor. Aim for the central ship. If we disable it, the rest will hesitate." Alex hesitated only a fraction of a second before acting. He adjusted the trajectory and fired. The ion disruptor hit its target, and the enemy flagship shuddered, systems failing under the blast. The rest of the fleet faltered, confusion spreading through their formation. Lyra's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. "They will regroup, but we've bought time. Time for your colonies to prepare." Alex exhaled, relief mingling with exhaustion. "We can't stop them completely. They'll be back." "They underestimate humans," Lyra said softly. "You adapt. You survive. That is your strength." In the quiet moments after the first wave, Alex looked at her differently. Her presence was commanding, but not through force. She led through knowledge, through understanding, through trust. And in that trust, he found a strange comfort. They were strangers from different worlds, yet they were united in purpose. Over the next few hours, they repaired the ship as best they could. Systems were damaged but functional, and the engines were ready for further maneuvers. Alex worked alongside the crew remotely, directing them with efficiency he had never needed before. Lyra assisted, her alien knowledge guiding repairs and optimizing power distribution in ways Alex couldn't have imagined. "Your crew trusts you," she said at one point. "They follow your lead. That is human instinct, but they will also need guidance and strategy. You will have to teach them." "I've always trained them for discipline," Alex replied. "But you're right. This is different. They need to think differently." Lyra nodded. "Adaptation. That is what you do best. I have seen it. Now your people will too." The second wave of enemy ships arrived faster and more coordinated. This time Alex and Lyra were ready. They had set traps using the asteroid belt and gravitational anomalies to their advantage. The fleet, confident in their previous attack, fell into the ambush. Ships collided, engines overloaded, and the chaos favored those who could think quickly. Alex directed the maneuvers while Lyra calculated optimal attack points, and together, they turned a near-certain defeat into a hard-fought victory. As the last of the enemy ships retreated, Alex allowed himself a moment to breathe. The ship floated in the void, battered but intact. Lyra's eyes scanned the horizon. "They will not forget this. Neither will your colonies. But for now, you have proven humans are capable of more than they realize." Alex smiled faintly, exhausted but proud. "We did it together." "Yes," she replied. "That is the key. Alone, either of us could fail. Together, we can change outcomes." After the battle, communications with human colonies were established. Alerts were sent, defenses reinforced, and warnings shared. The cooperation between human and alien intelligence began to show immediate results. Colonies prepared, fleets adjusted, and resources were allocated more efficiently. It was the start of something greater, a partnership that could shift the balance in the galaxy. In the quiet that followed, Alex and Lyra shared the cabin again. She sat calmly beside him, no longer a stranger but an ally, a mentor of sorts, and a witness to human courage. Alex realized that her bold entrance, the confidence with which she had entered his life, had been necessary. It had forced him to act, to adapt, to think beyond the limitations of his training. He finally asked the question that had lingered in his mind. Why me? Why come all this way for me? Lyra's gaze softened, and for the first time a hint of warmth touched her expression. Because I saw potential. Courage without strategy is reckless. Knowledge without action is useless. You have both. And sometimes, the right person in the right place can change the fate of entire civilizations. Alex nodded slowly, understanding. Her presence was not just intervention, it was guidance. It was trust placed in him, and now in turn he trusted her. They had faced danger together, made life or death decisions, and survived. And in the process, humanity had gained something far more valuable than technology or intelligence. It had gained hope. Over the following days, the ship made its way to safer territory, repairing systems and preparing for the unknown. Lyra remained aboard, assisting in communications and training the crew in alien tactics adapted for human use. The bond between Alex and Lyra strengthened, not through romance or personal attachment, but through mutual respect, understanding, and shared purpose. Alex often found himself thinking about her bold entrance, the way she had entered without hesitation, and how it had set the tone for everything that followed. What had seemed shocking at first now felt natural, even necessary. She had reminded him that survival required decisiveness, courage and openness to the unexpected. Finally, as the ship sailed past the asteroid belt and into open space, Alex looked at the stars and felt a sense of accomplishment. They had survived, they had adapted, and they had proven that humans could rise to challenges no one had thought possible. Lyra sat beside him quietly, and for the first time in weeks the cabin felt calm. "We've done more than survive," Alex said. "We've started something bigger than ourselves." "Yes," Lyra replied. "And this is only the beginning. There will be more threats, more tests. But you have shown me, and the universe, that humans are capable of greatness." Alex leaned back, letting the hum of the ship and the distant stars settle his mind. He realized that the encounter, which had begun with surprise and uncertainty, had become a turning point, not just for him, but for humanity. In the vastness of space, amid stars and darkness, one truth became clear. When courage meets intelligence, when human instinct meets alien knowledge, anything was possible. And with allies like Lyra, humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer uncertain. It was a promise of potential, a testament to what could be achieved when worlds worked together. The ship continued its journey, moving steadily through the void, a symbol of survival, hope, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. And Alex knew, as long as courage and cooperation endured, there was no challenge they could not face together.